The wind slipped through the leaves, carrying with it the damp scent of earth and the sharp tang of trampled vegetation. I tightened my grip on the rifle, my heartbeat syncing with the steady chirping of insects. Desolation. The hogs had destroyed everything. The moment had come. Stalking prey deep in the forest, every sense pushed to the limit. One small sound could give away my position. Hunting wild hogs isn't just about patience. It's about the hunter's grit and the ability to strike with lightning speed. Victory or failure is decided in a heartbeat. I released the hounds, breathing in the raw scent of the mountain forest. Today, I was determined not a single hog would escape. Right then, my dogs burst into loud barks. The first target of the day had arrived. From the rain-soaked brush, a dark figure exploded into view. It was fierce, desperately breaking free from danger. But I had been waiting, already calculated and ready. I pulled the trigger. Boom! The shot was dead on. The hog collapsed instantly. I let out a breath. It all happened in a flash. The sharp smell of gunpowder filled the air. I smiled. One clean takedown to start the day. And just like that, the forest got a little quieter, a little more peaceful. We surveyed the terrain around us. The thick vegetation here makes it a perfect hiding place for wild hogs. But for hunters like us, it's a real challenge. The hogs can disappear in an instant, while we struggle to get a clear view and make the right call. It takes serious hunting skills to succeed in conditions like this. Just then, a large figure emerged. It wasn't moving fast, but the tree trunks gave it perfect cover. Without hesitation, I pulled the trigger. Boom! Unfortunately, the aggressive hog dodged the shot. The bullet slammed into a tree, making it shudder. Taking the chance, the hog bolted. Bang! Bang! We missed it! Have you ever let an opportunity slip away right before your eyes? For me, and for hunters who are passionate and relentless, that's simply not an option. I stayed on the trail of the hog that had just escaped, waiting in silence for the perfect moment. That's what hunting is all about. It's not always easy. Sometimes it takes time and patience. Then finally, the moment arrived. The hog burst out from its hiding place. This time, there would be no mistake. I pulled the trigger. The shot hit clean. The animal tumbled to the ground, slid, and finally went still. What a feeling to take down a target you've tracked and worked for. You know that feeling, don't you? On this side, near the hillside by the tree line, my buddy Jack had spotted the target. "Watch this, it's my time to shine," he said. With that, Jack adjusted his scope and pulled the trigger. A sharp cracking shot rang out, loud and crisp. The hog froze. Jack dropped it in an instant. He's done this 100 times. The kind of clean execution where the hog's chance of escape? Exactly 0%. Through the scope, I scanned the distance. The wild hog was dragging itself along slowly, painful, and struggling. The moment had come. If that's the case, I'll end its suffering. Boom! Clean, quick, decisive. The target dropped in a flash. The chase was over. The threat was gone. Looks like the whole village will sleep soundly tonight. There it was, the final target of the day. Out of the brush, a wild hog burst forth unexpectedly. If you hesitate for even a second, you'll miss your chance. But not me. With steady nerves, I stayed calm, held my breath, pulled the trigger. Bang! The bullet struck it clean in the body, sending it sliding downhill. But it wasn't done yet. It kept trying to run. And as long as it still had a chance to live, our village still had a chance to be torn apart. Boom! The second shot hit, dropping it for good. Just like that, today's hunt came to an end. A sense of calm settled over me. Hunting isn't always smooth, and speed doesn't always guarantee success. A good hunter knows patience is just as important. Peace has returned to the village, but no one knows what the future holds. Will the hogs come back? If they do, we'll be ready. Our work is officially recognized and protected by the United States government. We want to extend our heartfelt thanks to our teammates, the local farmers who stood by us, and the authorities who supported us every step of the way. We operate within legal boundaries, under proper policy, with safety protocols and risk insurance in place. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next hunt.
The Pomeranian fields, a fertile land contributing millions of dollars to Poland, have now become a battlefield for wild boars. With abundant and rich food sources, they dig up farmlands, destroy livestock shelters, and drive the locals into hardship. So, what must be done to put an end to this destruction? Join us and witness the fierce confrontation with these monstrous creatures right ahead. At the break of dawn, our team had already gathered at the rendezvous point. Wasting no time, we quickly geared up, brought along the hunting dogs, and split up according to our pre-assigned positions. Once I reached my hideout, I checked my weapon and stayed poised, ready to engage the moment the target appeared. 15 minutes passed in complete silence. Then suddenly, the barking of the hunting dogs echoed from deep within the forest. I listened closely, tracking the prey's movement through the sound of the hounds. And there it was. The wild boar burst out of the bushes, sprinting madly across the lush green field in a desperate attempt to flee. Seizing the moment, I raised my scope and squeezed the trigger. It collapsed right there in the middle of the field. On the eastern side of the field, Henry was in position, hidden and waiting for the prey. Then, out of nowhere, a massive wild boar, easily around 400 pounds, suddenly burst out from the edge of the tall grass. It bolted like the wind, panicked, and dashed right across Henry's line of sight at an incredible speed. Think it got away? No chance. Henry wasn't about to let that happen. He raised his rifle, aimed in a split second, pulled the trigger multiple times. The boar finally went down, over 100 meters from where Henry stood. The team moved on again, this time to a field filled with chest-high dry grass. Following the tracks left on the ground, we spread out. From a distance, I spotted a dark figure slowly foraging a wild boar, completely absorbed in searching for something. I carefully crept closer, moving slowly to avoid making any noise. Then I chose a good vantage point, adjusted my stance, gripped the rifle firmly, and pulled the trigger. One single shot, one more threat eliminated from this land. We moved to a freshly harvested field, an ideal spot where wild boars often come to scavenge after the crop season. While getting into position, Henry spotted a group of wild boars rummaging near the edge of the field, completely unaware they were being watched. Without hesitation, Henry crept closer and raised his rifle. The first shot rang out. As expected, the whole herd panicked and scattered. Quickly, more shots followed. Several boars went down, but a few managed to flee into the next field. Not letting the remaining ones escape, we immediately moved in on the grassy field next to it. Following the tracks, still clearly imprinted on the ground, the whole team spread out to pursue. And there, two wild boars were busily digging right in the middle of the grass. I raised my gun, locked onto the biggest one. It must have been over 400 pounds just by a quick look. Without hesitation, I pulled the trigger. The beast collapsed right on spot. But the other one reacted extremely fast. It dashed into the forest and disappeared in an instant. The sun was fading fast, and we rushed to track down the remaining boars before darkness set in. 10 minutes passed, and the barking of the hounds echoed from deep within the forest, frantic and urgent. Then, a thunderous shot rang out. It was Henry. A wild boar, charging at what must have been dozens of kilometers per hour, dropped instantly where it stood. Unbelievable. At this point, Henry might just be every wild boar's worst nightmare whenever he pulls that trigger. Wild boars are powerful creatures of the wilderness, fiercely aggressive, incredibly resilient, and remarkably adaptable to harsh environments. An adult can weigh between 100 and 150 kilograms, and some males even surpass 200 kilograms, armed with razor-sharp tusks, deadly weapons when they strike back. This danger turns every hunt into a high-stakes challenge. And today, I head out once more, ready to face off in the wild mountain forests. The mountain in Buznica, about 8 kilometers from Enoch's home, was chosen as the first ideal hunting location. Upon arrival, everyone quickly returned to their assigned positions. I carefully checked all my equipment and patiently waited for the prey to appear. There it is. Shouts began echoing from various spots. Seeing the boar charging in my direction, I swiftly raised my rifle, aimed, and pulled the trigger. It wasn't a large one, but it was incredibly fast. I fired several shots, all missing. Just as it was about to disappear into the brush, one final shot landed, bringing it down instantly. The hunt had only just begun, and already the tension was suffocating. It seemed today would be a real challenge for the entire team. The sun grew harsher by the minute. To conserve our strength under the scorching heat, we decided to bring the hunting dogs and continue the search. Exactly 15 minutes later, the dogs began barking, a promising sign that prey was nearby. We scanned the surroundings with full focus. Just as expected, the boar suddenly burst out. I didn't hesitate, firing off a rapid burst of shots. The bullets hit their mark. Wounded and dazed, the boar collapsed shortly after. Following a narrow trail up the mountain, we suddenly heard a strange noise coming from the bushes off to the side. I immediately signaled the team to stop and cautiously raise my rifle. "Shoot!" Now, the other shouted. I fired. With one clean, fatal shot, the bullet struck directly and the boar dropped instantly. My God, I never imagined I could pull off such a perfect shot. To avoid alerting the boars, we had to position ourselves downwind. But the scorching heat of the mountains drenched everyone in sweat, making the hunt more grueling and intense than ever. There's one. Enoch called out after spotting the boar. He quickly moved to intercept it along the trail. Tension grew with every second. When the gunshot rang out, the boar stumbled immediately. That hit was critical. It wouldn't get far now. While tracking the boar separately from the group, I suddenly heard the sound of barking grow louder. I instinctively raised my rifle, and boom, the boar charged out, catching me off guard. But luckily, my quick reflexes helped me bring it down cleanly. Now it lay motionless on the ground. The dramatic chase finally over. As soon as I spotted the prey, I didn't hesitate. I fired immediately. Everything went smoothly, and after that, we bagged several valuable trophies for today's hunt. After a long and exhausting morning, the group had achieved solid results. But with such a dense wild boar population in this area, it's clear we'll be returning for more cleanup hunts soon. We've been on this mission for 5 years now, ever since we received the first report of wild boars ravaging crops in this area. Since then, our hunting trips have become more than just a duty, they're a way of life. Each time we set out, it's another test of endurance, skill, and the unpredictable challenges of the deep forest. And today, the journey continues. At a rendezvous point near the forest edge, our team quickly checked all weapons and gear. Everything was prepped and ready for the relentless battle against the invading wild boars. Soon after, we split up, cautiously surveying the terrain step by step. Every tree stump and bush could be hiding danger. 30 minutes passed in absolute silence, yet the tension kept rising. My finger rested on the trigger, ready to react to any threat. Suddenly, a sound came from the bush ahead. It moved incredibly fast, but so did my reflexes. A sharp gunshot rang out. The boar was hit, staggered a few steps, and collapsed to the ground. As we moved forward, we unexpectedly ran into another group of wild boars on the trail. A quick shot was fired, and just like that, we had another trophy in hand. Realizing that the entire forest was becoming increasingly dangerous, more and more boars began to bolt again. I quickly radioed John to warn him about a group of wild boars heading his way. John immediately heightened his alertness, eyes scanning the area. Suddenly, the boars rushed across his path. Without hesitation, he pulled the trigger. One precise shot dropped a boar from the group, while the rest vanished in the depths of the forest. Wild boars are not only aggressive, but also highly cunning, so none of us dared let our guard down, even for a second. The sharp barking of the hunting dogs and the shouting of our teammates added to the tension. Cadale, however, quickly regained composure. The moment his target emerged, he seized the opportunity and fired another valuable trophy for the team. while the others stayed together. I ventured deeper into the heart of the forest alone. From a distance, I heard a faint sound. It seemed like footsteps, undeniably the distinctive sound of a wild boar. And sure enough, a dark figure burst out. Instinct kicked in. We fired immediately, taking down the target before there was even time to think. After the success of our morning hunt, we headed out again in the afternoon, this time choosing a forest closer to the farm. To our surprise, a whole herd of boars wandered straight into our ambush, an extremely poor decision on their part. A burst of gunfire rang out. One boar was taken down, while the rest fled deep into the woods. At the same time, Cadale remained patiently waiting for the right moment. His eyes darted quickly across every corner of the forest. Wait, something was moving. Cadale instantly recognized the familiar shape, raised his rifle, locked onto the target, and pulled the trigger. Before the boars had a chance to react, the bullet struck its mark, bringing the target down hard. We receive a report that several wild boars were approaching the forest edge. It only took me 2 minutes to reach the ambush site and get into position. The barking of the hounds signaled that the target was getting close. As soon as it appeared, I pulled the trigger without hesitation. One powerful shot dropped the boar instantly. And that wraps up today's video. Did this hunt get your adrenaline pumping? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to catch more thrilling hunts ahead. As both a farmer and a modern-day hunter, I'm always striving to find the most effective ways to protect my fields. Instead of sitting back and complaining about the wild boars that constantly ravage my corn crops, I chose to take action through hunting, a practical and efficient method of controlling their population. Join us as we embark on this journey and discover what lies ahead. After a few minutes of quietly surveying the terrain, our scope finally caught sight of a wild boar. It was strolling leisurely, completely unaware it had entered our sights. Even though the distance wasn't ideal, I decided to take a chance with a long-range shot. The rifle was ready, just waiting for the right moment. Fire. The gunshot echoed through the mountains. The bullet struck its mark, knocking the boar off balance and sending it tumbling down the slope. But it wasn't down for good. Despite the shot, the hefty animal struggled to its feet and fired a final shot to ensure it couldn't retaliate or pose any danger. Not long after, the agitated growls of the hunting dogs rang out across the forest, signaling that something was happening nearby. The sound came from a patch of thick bushes just ahead. I carefully moved forward and raised my gun. A single, clean, decisive shot brought the animal down instantly. The chase grew more intense by the minute. As we crossed over yet another mountain ridge, we encountered a massive herd of wild boars. Their size alone was enough to excite any hunter. We couldn't miss the opportunity and opened fire together. However, the quick-footed boars scattered and vanished into the underbrush. Only a few unlucky ones were brought down, lying motionless on the forest floor. We weren't about to give up that easily. We were determined to pursue the fleeing herd. Immediately, a signal was sent to our teammates to block the exit, a tried and true tactic that always yields results. As soon as a boar's silhouette emerged, my friend took the shot, striking the alpha right in its tracks. A barrage of gunfire followed, sending the rest of the herd into a panic. But no matter how fast they ran, some couldn't escape their fate. Our luck held as another group of wild boars suddenly appeared. Not to be outdone, we reloaded and fired continuously. But these cunning creatures were incredibly agile, weaving skillfully through the bushes, and before long, they had vanished completely, leaving only the sound of gunfire and a lingering scent. The wild boar population here is beyond measure. They travel in large groups and move at incredible speed. Despite our best efforts and constant shooting, the number we managed to bring down was barely a dent in their overwhelming and ever-growing population. As we made our way down a narrow path toward the base of the mountain, we suddenly heard strange rustling sounds from the bushes. Without hesitation, I squeezed the trigger. The gunshot rang out, and my heart pounded from the adrenaline of that split-second decision.